Last week, my newsletter subscribers made 250% gains from our up loving trade. But what's even more exciting is that Trump's recent victory just triggered 4 stocks showing the same exact pattern. These aren't random picks, they're showing the highest relative strength in the stock market right now. After half a decade of trading and learning from million-dollar traders, I've discovered that the most profitable setups happen when market moving coincides with specific technical patterns. Today, I'm going to walk you through 4 stocks that are quietly setting up for potential breakouts. But before we dive in, make sure to join my Profit Punch newsletter. My last 5 picks included SMCI for 240%, NVDA for 180%, and Up11 for 250%. I save you 20 plus hours of research every week by focusing on only the top 1% of stocks showing proven patterns. Link is in the description. Also, I spend countless hours analyzing charts to bring you this in-depth content. So if you want more analysis like this, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me and the channel out. Now, let's analyze these 4 stocks that could be our next big winners. First of all, this video is for swing traders. I have another video coming out for investors. So this is mostly a swing trading video. People looking to make gains in the next week or 2 weeks. It's not investing, it's not a long-term hold, it's not a day trading video either. So we always want to have our weekly chart on the left, and then we always want to have our daily chart. The daily chart is where we see exactly where we should get in. The weekly chart always gives us a big picture view. We have our earnings table as well. We have our return on equity to get a quick glance at the fundamentals. So what are we saying? This stock has been moving very strong, right? And it is showing something called a high tide flag. A high tide flag happens when a stock doubles in the last 8 weeks. We can see it first did that here. It's doing that again here. So we can see the stock has gone up 100% and then it forms this dip correction. It's way deeper than we hoped for, but it is still showing positive signs. So here we can see it doubled correction, and then we see it did a 55% move. So here's the first trade that you could have done. This is the biggest risk that you could have taken, and you make 3 times your money back. If you take a tighter risk like this, you'd have made 6 times your money. So we are seeing the same thing happening here. It makes this big move and then pulls back. And then this is also something which we could call a base on base. This stock has very poor fundamentals, as you can see on the table. But the reason why it's a very good swing trade is that it has a very high relative strength compared to the market. We always just want to see something over 20, but this is showing 128. Anything over 60 is crazy. So what is the plan here? I realize that stocks will move 3 to 2 times their 1.5 average true ranges, so I put these goals here. You don't have to take the full risk, but you wait for the stock to move just above the high, and then you can even have a tighter stop around here, and then you could make 4 times your money back. The next stock is LEU. This stock is showing a very similar tide pattern. So when we look at the weekly chart, I color-coded my weekly charts. When you see a green bar, that means that the volume is very strong. So we see a very strong move, and then it corrects. And whenever stocks do, this is something again called a high tide flag. The stock has doubled in the last 8 weeks or so, forms a consolidation, and it's likely to move again. So this one looks like it could do a 50% to a 70% move. And it might seem like a lot, but we can see that the stock already did a 170% move. So I feel like the stock could even go more from here. So this is a stock that is at all-time highs, as we can see. So what is the strategy for stocks on all-time highs? A good plan is you get in here. I've put for you these profit reward levels that you can take. Wait on Monday for the stock to just go above the high. You can buy it, put your stop here. And then as soon as it reaches 2R, you want to sell at least a third to a half. The reason is because we're not sure how far it's going to go. Technical traders, we're not mystical beings who know where the stock is going to go. We are speculating. So when it goes in our favor, a certain amount, we take a little bit off of it because we don't know if it might go to high highs or it might stay here. So you can do that. And then after you sell a third or a half, since it's going to all-time high, then it is showing very huge volume, you can wait for a close under the 10-day moving average. If you did that here, you would have gotten a profit of about 50%. If you waited for a close under the 20-day moving average, you could have gotten a profit of about 88% in the past. So that is something which is possible with this stock. Next stock is very interesting. It has been killing the stock market this year, and it has a lot of good fundamentals. As you can see on the weekly chart, it formed a very nice cup and handle breaks out in huge volume. Whenever you see a green bar on my charts, that means that the volume was at least 50% over the 50-day moving average of the volume. So that is a very good sign. And we can see the stock has been just drifting along. The fundamentals are not that great, but normally what I do is that when fundamentals are not that great, I ignore them when the stock is one of the strongest stocks. That means that the stock is likely not moving due to its fundamentals, but due to what it might be able to do in the future. So those are two different things between investing and swing trading. When you're swing trading, you can trade stocks with very poor fundamentals, but they're very strong in the market. So this is something forming a high tide flag again. So we can see the stock went up already 100%. And the reason why this is a very good high tide flag compared to what I've shown you before is that the correction is very slim. So whenever you see a very short correction like this, that means people are like, no, we're not going to sell the stock to anybody else. We want to keep holding it. Another thing we see is that the stock is climbing back to all-time highs. We always want to see a stock going to all-time highs, and this just doesn't have it yet. But we can see that the resistance level is around $360, which is quite far away from where we are right now. So for this high tide flag, what I would do is buy it here, put for you this goals. So 1 hour, one risk is 1.5 of the average true range. It's already in the table over here. You always want to have these things very quick. You get in here, as soon as it opens on Monday, if it goes in your favor, you should sell a half around 290, and then you have two options. You can either sell the other half at 3 hour, right? Because this is normally the range in which the stocks will move, or you can ride it until it closes under the 10-day moving average. What I would do personally here is that since this is not all-time highs and the stock is already extended, I would just get out here for the smaller profit of 16% because the stock is already overextended. So this is something which is more like a short-term trade. And our final trade, which is a very good, strong stock. Again, high tide flag, right? Stock has doubled. Clearly, you guys can see that in the last 8 weeks. Look at what is happening when it's moving up. It's moving up on very huge volume. When it corrects, the volume is very little. This year has been crazy. It went from $4 to $78 on very huge volume. What does this tell you? There are investors out there that really know what is going on in this stock. As a speculator, I'm not very sure. What I look for is huge liquidity so that I am not trapped. I can easily sell the stock. I like to have good fundamentals, but I ignore them when the stock is very strong. As you can see here, the fundamentals are not looking great. This is not a fundamentally sound company. That means that the people investing in it are predicting that it's going to have huge sales in the future. Now, I'm not a value investor, so I don't know exactly what is going on, but I can just read the chart. So we see a huge breakout here, forms a nice base, breaks out, consolidates. We always want to see at least 4 weeks of consolidation, but for something like a high tide flag, you don't need a lot of weeks. A very nice correction of only 20%, which is a very small cry compared to how far it has moved, right? This is not even a 40% correction, right? This is a very short correction of what it did. It's more like a 30% correction. Anyway, we see a very tight correction here. This is even something which you could call a zigzag for those who know Elliott waves. And then we can see a closing price reversal. I already bought the stock around $71, but right now it is not too late to buy the stock either. So we know our plan. This one is going to all-time highs. So for those going to all-time highs, once it reaches 2 hour, you can sell a third or a half. I sell a third normally for stocks going to all-time highs and they have such big volume. And then I can wait for it to close under the 10-day exponential moving average, or I can just sell some at 3 hour, right? So you want to profit like that from these trades. If you have found value in this video, of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel. May the markets be with you this week.